Beloved, welcome back to the shop. I have my most precious, one of my most precious possessions in my hand, the very heart of my beloved 300. Do you want to see what happens when you run a two-stroke engine for 1,000 hours using only AMSOIL? Let me show you. This here is my precious. I bought her brand new in 2017. It is the last of the 300 carbureted bikes. And I do have 1,000 hours on it. People say I lie about that. They're like, there's no way you could get 1,000 hours on a dirt bike that looks like that, but it's true. I put about 120, 150 hours a year on it. You have to put a new top end every 120 hours. So, I mean, you can just figure it out. It's not hard to figure. The reason why it looks so good is because I give it tender loving care, but I've got the cylinder out. Also, this original bottom end here, this is the connecting rod for the piston, is original. I've not touched it other than just, I haven't done anything, nothing. Original, 1,000 hours, no bearing slop whatsoever. Will it go more? I'm gonna run it. Let's go take a look at the cylinder head. This is kind of interesting. I think it is. I always like to see the tools that are required for a job. So for a top end rebuild, there you have it. And when you work on something, lay your tools out like this, especially if it's going to be multi-day, and don't put them back in your box. That way it just saves you time. So everything that I needed to take it apart, I'm most likely going to need to put it back together. But that's how it works out. And then parts over here. But let's take a look at the cylinder head. What's it going to look like after so many hours? Here's the piston. This has 120 hours. I was right on it when the time came up. You can see here. Now this 120 hours on this piston, 1,000 hours on the cylinder head. You can see the coating. This is all black. Has a coating on it. That's all worn down to the metal. So typical high mileage, that piston starts to slap a little bit. The bore can get kind of oval. But it's still running, man. I'm going to run it till the wheels come off. Same on the back side there. Carbon up here. Maybe running a little bit rich. Could probably lean that out a little bit, but rather rich than lean. But let's look at the cylinder wall. I don't have any gauges or fancy instruments to like check it against factory spec. That's beyond Proho grade. But this is the bore. Can I feel? Now only AMSOIL. Dominator and Saber AMSOIL mixed 60-1. I could feel a little bit on the lip of the cylinder there. Now you can't hone these. What I've read, they have a special super fancy coating on it. These are race engines. And when the coating, if you hone them, then the coating gets rubbed off and it's a goner. But I can see here, there's no scratches. I can actually still see the honing marks from the original ones. It's thin, that coating in areas, but I don't, it may be almost gone in a couple spots, but it actually looks really good. And that's been meticulous air filters and meticulous oil, good oil and non-ethanol, the best gas. The power valve, I completely rebuilt that yesterday. So that's all done. That's inside. So there was nothing wrong with it. It's just O-rings. But pretty amazing, huh? 1,000 hours on the original bottom end, as well as, that's coming up on, 8 years of heavy riding. So I've got that project going on. I also owe some of you an apology. Now you guys were following along while I was building the traditional Craftsman style Pacific Northwest coffee table out of the CVG fir. I quit videoing it. The truth of the matter is that no one really watches those videos. They get very poor views, and they're a ton of work to produce, to set up, and they just don't get views. And so I just am not incentivized to do it. This coffee table, I don't have any plans. It's my own design, so don't ask. I don't have them to give. I would give them if I had them. I just shaped everything individually by hand as I made it. This was all done with traditional woodworking tools, meaning all done by hand, hand-sawn, hand-planed, except for my jigsaw. I did use a jigsaw, but it turned out so nice. All clear vertical grain fur. Now this piece right here was unique. Now this was supposed to be a full 5 inches, just like you see on this side. But when I had a limited amount of this old growth fur, and so it had a big crack in it. So rather than tearing into a new board or getting something that didn't match, I just went with a crack, and I just used a spoke shave and just kind of worked with it. That was the natural shape of it. And I think it turned out good. It almost turned into like a propeller blade look. But it's lower on one side, and that was done intentionally. So I thought it was kind of cool. I just gave it some character. And how amazing to have, like these are 13 inches wide here. This is one piece. Unheard of. Clear vertical grain, one piece. Usually it would be laminated. But that just turned out so nice. So this is this is a great size, 40 inches long. I secured no visible screws except for, I just use pocket screws because I'm not an elitist, nor do I have time to do all the traditional joinery. Pocket screws, 4 pocket screws per side, bottom, secured in the same way. But a really an heirloom piece, so nice. The tops right there with the split, it's going to look great. Once I'm putting water locks on it now. This is a proprietary tung oil that is, it's one of my favorite finishes. It's very forgiving and it looks nice, but this will be absolutely gorgeous. So I know that people would want to update, but that's, it's done. No video, but very pleased with that. Let's finish up with a toolbox tour. I've been getting a lot of people asking about that. I love a good toolbox tour. One of my favorite videos I watch on YouTube are watching pro mechanics, like line mechanics, do toolbox tours because I learn so much about efficiency and just what's needed. Your toolboxes, when you're setting them up, of course, you want to have your best or your most used stuff in the very top, and then your least used stuff in the bottom. So when you go to bread and butter, that's going to be your socket set. We in frame here. Your socket sets. So in here, I'm going to have all my, I like the hard-handled snap-on ratchets. For each one that I buy a unique and different color. So I think that's, well, it makes me happy. Extensions, and then deep and shallow sockets, metric, random. You get extensions, Allens, metric and standard, Torxes, impacts, regulars, that sort of thing, extensions. So that's going to be your top drawer, your bread and butter. And your next bread and butter is going to be your screwdrivers. And that usually, so like a good snap-on box like this is set up for that. These are just things that are just understood. Men have learned over the years and they build toolboxes accordingly. So screwdrivers, hard-handled stuff, even some specialty, some Torx up here. Shorties, Schrader, valve for removing valve cores. Those screwdrivers you buy when you have one screw you have to get that you only use once in your life. So screwdrivers are number 2. Number 3 drawer is going to be your end wrenches right here. So metric and standard, ratcheting ones or specialty pipe fitting ones. They're mixed in between, but these are really your bread and butter. Fun fact here, snap-on tools are so good. My son Jack, I don't know what he was thinking, teenagers sometimes. He was trying to remove a 10mm bolt off his KTM, and instead of using the box end, he used the open end. And this thing held so tight when I came in. He's like, it's tight, I can't get it off. And I looked at it, I'm like, I've never in my life broken a snap-on 10mm wrench. It actually broke the wrench before it slipped on the nut. There you have it. Of course, whenever you need to find a snap-on guy, you can never find one. That's been broken for years. Miscellaneous zip ties, my pads, whenever I sketch notes or material lists, Allens, and just random stuff. I also leave this one kind of empty because when I'm working, I'll sit in like a small stool, working on bikes, and I'll put like a computer here or my phone if I want to listen to videos or music, and I use it as kind of almost like a little bench right here because it's the right height to look inside when I'm sitting on my rolling cart. So I leave that kind of open for that. Drawer number 5 is going to be pliers. So pipe wrenches, channel locks. These are the good the good Knipex, the channel locks. You know, they make channel locks. These are German, very excellent. Knipex, the God Hand, so good. Snap ring pliers, needle nose, scissors. Man, I recently bought these. These are snap-on scissors. These are actually made by CRKT, Columbia River Knife and Tool, but those are excellent. Specialty, small bolt cutters, electrical crimpers, cutters, right angle, flush angle or flush cuts, regular pliers, that stuff. Most of it's all snap-on and Knipex. Hammers, I've got some of them out. Ball peens, large and small, brass hammer, so you don't mar items. Pry bars, files, punches, file cards for cleaning. This was my granddad's toolbox. I don't know who made this, but it's cool. It's just solid steel basher. Brass drifts, brass punches for when you don't want to mar items. Stare at center punch, it gives me the fizz. Mostly all snap-on. This drawer here is a new addition. You haven't seen this before. Tilt you down here a little bit. This is just motorcycle specialty items. I was getting so many motorcycle specific tools, I didn't have room for them, so they kind of moved down here. So slack adjusters, inflators, compressors for suspension, bearing pullers, tire bars, chain breakers, all that stuff. So that's just starting to build up. Syringes for brakes. And then the bottom and final drawer is kind of a catch-all for large items. My M18 tools that I use in here, heat guns, drills, impact drivers, die grinders, power staplers, battery chargers, compressors, just kind of big stuff. But that's the breakdown. I have other toolboxes for specialty items or things that I don't use very often. Pullers, more like really job-specific tools. I only put in my main box the tools that I use every single day. This cabinet here is also for more long-term storage, things I don't use all the time. I bought this used on Marketplace and I just built it into my cabinet. And that's really nice because you have a really good automotive grade work surface here and these big drawers. So this whole upper drawer is all dedicated to just dirt bike stuff. Gears, sprockets, projects coming up, manuals, all my RAM stuff, electrical stuff, maintenance stuff, bearings, filters, plugs, just all of the, you can see my priorities. You put the most important things to you on the top. So that's dirt bike. This one here is miscellaneous electrical. So all my crimps, specialty tools, chargers, all crimpers, tenders, all that electrical stuff goes in here. Third one down is tap and die, Healy coils, just some random shop items. Power drawer. So this is my chargers from Milwaukee stuff. This down here, some heavy tools like my magnetic drill press. There's a roto hammer in there. I don't use this stuff very often. Random abrasives, more electrical stuff, just random small bits and pieces. Measuring instruments, leather and canvas repair, gun stuff, more gun stuff. So that's about it, gentlemen. Just wanted to provide you some low effort content today. Mrs. W's mother is visiting and we got a bunch of social things going on and I only have a short day to work. So that's about all I can really share with you today. I'm going to put another coat on my bench and keep working away on my top end of my KTM. Summer is coming and I can feel it and I can't wait to get back on the dirt bike. I haven't been on that bike since I had my accident last fall, I guess it was. And it'll be good to get back in the saddle because I need to, if you know what I mean. May God bless you and your families. Please keep us in your prayers, and I'll see you all on the next video.